Today I'm going to talk about data analytics, a big picture, general introduction. I'm going to then go into some anecdotes, some nice stories that helps us understand. And then finally, I'm going to move into recycling at AUC and all the efforts we've been doing throughout the years. Okay, brief introduction. I'm Dr. Dina Rateb. I am teaching at the American University in Cairo. I'm from Egypt, and I took my doctorate from University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania back in 1992. And two certificates that are related to today's theme that I am holding are the IBM certificate, Certified Big Data Specialist, as well as Certified Predictive Analytics. However, I would rather not go into technicalities, so I'm going to just give you a brief intro. First, data analytics to me is the process of examining data sets or real world facts, numbers, data, whatever you name it, to find hidden patterns, to see if there's a trend, to see if there's a correlation, to see insights. At the end of the day, to do what? To support a decision making. Okay. To do that, we first have to analyze the problem and think about the analysis of the problem properly, because this is going to help us then finding insights if we understand the problem properly. So, for example, if the doctor, if somebody goes to the doctor, says, I have a headache, well, headache is not the problem. Headache is a symptom to the problem. So then the doctor needs to dig further, and this is why we use the fishbone technique to understand what it is that the patient is causing. What is it that's causing the headache? Is it a blood pressure issue? Is it an eyesight issue? A lot of other things that can cause headaches. If the doctor, he or she seems to think it's the headache is the problem, they'll just give the patient Advil or aspirin or whatever. Okay, so I love the Gartner graph here that sums it up in a nutshell and what it is in 2 words. First, we start by descriptive analytics. We're basically describing something, what happened, and they consider that to be a hindsight. So looking at the past, and this worked very well in the past. We used to study historical data and we used to stop there. But no, we have to take it one step further. And for endless decades, we were talking about insights. Basically, why did it happen? So why is there a headache? They call this diagnostic analytics. And here comes the fishbone technique again, but this, and then what will happen? How to predict the future based on the why and the past. So how can we predict what is going to happen? And they stopped there for endless decades, and now things became more fruitful. It's not just about insight, it's about foresight. They're trying to prescribe a solution, prescriptive analytics, to be able to, how can we make this happen? Making this happen is, I'm going to prescribe something for you to make it happen. Okay, let me go into some nice anecdotes, because anecdotes explain things. I have a lot of anecdotes, the famous ones that are all over in the books, and 2 interesting ones from my thesis students that were collected from Egypt. So again, the target story goes that they managed to come up with some items, 25 products that are called pregnancy prediction. If somebody buys those items, like certain lotions, then that girl is pregnant. And then they target by sending coupons for baby items and so on for those people that they suspect are pregnant. Comes in an angry father one day into Target outside Minneapolis, and he's angry. He says, my kid is still in high school, and how dare you, and how dare you are promoting or encouraging kids at that age to be pregnant. And then The manager of Target was apologetic, didn't know what's going on, and he went on apologizing. The following day, the dad calls him on the phone and it says, it turns out that there has been some activities in my house and she's due in August, that the girl is pregnant, and he apologized. The second famous story that we know of is, that most of you know of, is the Pamper and the Beer story in Walmart. When they found that in Walmart, found out that Pamper and Beer were being sold together on Fridays. To them, this was strange, but they kept studying it further and further and found out that the dads were buying the Pamper on Fridays, on the weekend, because they're gonna babysit the kids and have to drink beer. They enjoy drinking beer to watch the football, the American football. Okay, so that's another nice story. Now, what did Walmart do to this? To us as IT people, it's beyond our scope what the marketing people will do after that. For example, the Walmart people did what? They put them next to each other, and sales significantly increased when they put the Pamper and the Beer next to each other. Another person would say, no, I'll put an item with high net profits, such as, for example, chewing gum, and by mistake, not by mistake, I mean, it's a human nature, you're gonna buy the Pamper, the Beer, and the chewing gum. Another person would say, no, if the beer is gonna expire, then I'm gonna wrap the beer with a Pamper and do some kind of promotion. It's beyond us. We're not marketing people. Whatever it is that they wanna do, this is very valuable information. This is a real life story from a very, very big store, almost 15 branches now. It started in the 90s in Egypt, without mentioning names. They sell home appliances. Maybe they're number one now. And this is the Pamper Beer analysis. The beautiful thing about data analytics is that you don't have to have a hypothesis anymore. You just run the data and amazing things come out of it. But it's important to know how to interpret the results, because again, some people look at things like this and ignore or miscalculate or misunderstand things. It's very important to understand how to interpret whatever comes out of it and to intelligently do the analytics. So this young lady, she's her family are the owners of this big thing. And the first top two items that are being sold together are the air conditioner and the refrigerators. The second two top items, like Pamper Beer issue, the LED, the TV thing, and the refrigerators. Then here you see the number 3, which means here is the bundle of 3. The third item that or not the third item, but 3 items are sold together is the air condition, the TV, and the refrigerator, and so on. Again, it's beyond our scope what those people are gonna do with it. As I've said, Walmart put them together. You can promote them together. You can do wonders with it, but it's very, very valuable information. And the list goes on. This is just part of it. If we have time, I can show you the real data itself and what we did with the analytics part. Zero hypothesis. We did not say, should this go with this? Nobody ever thought, should Pamper correlate with beer? Nobody ever set a hypothesis to test if Pamper goes with beer. We just do nothing. We just intelligently interpret the results and perhaps group things, as I'll show you in the following example. This is another example from one of my thesis students, and it's about a carpet shop that's very famous, selling carpets, but again, the records were not as plenty as the one that had 13 stores. We don't sell a carpet every day. I mean, she started talking about a carpet that was in 1 second, she showed us a picture, sold with £1 million, Egyptian pounds. In 1 second, the guy says, I like this one, how much? So, okay, here it is. Okay, so carpets, of course, they're not all that expensive, but they're not sold every day. It's not a supermarket. So here, when she started off testing things with few records, not much came out, especially that invoices had dates, and that's it. So I told her, let's run it with a grouping of seasons. And let's also try from the name of the invoice, understand if that's a man or a woman buying. When we did those two things, beautiful things, strange things came out. First, we found that in the fall, the men buy, and usually small sizes. Okay, it's very strange. We did not expect this. And then we found that it in the spring, the women buy. Okay, here it is. We found women buying in the spring, females. Okay. Of course, on the day of the thesis defense, the owner of the shop, her family, had to come to answer questions, and they were almost guessing that this is what's going on, but happy to see it as a fact. And they said that they handle the store differently in the fall than the spring. There are more men coming in looking for carpets. Of course, it's not a decision that you make in a second. Carpets, you take your time. Okay, not this one, perhaps this one. So now they know who's buying what, when. To him, this was very valuable information. This is another story in the US. It's a restaurant that was losing almost 10% every year. Then all of a sudden, when they revamped things, thanks to data analytics, they managed to make a big fortune of revenue of almost 18 million every year. They got famous movie stars like Barbara Streisand and Jim Carrey and so on. And when they started to revamp, when they studied the top 500 customers through the point of sale credit card system, they were amazed with what they saw. They were seen as just a spaghetti place. And then they were amazed to see that their customers had money, had an average of 1.4 cars, had money, could afford more. So when they were focusing only on the spaghetti thing, they were losing. They're losing customers, losing money, losing everything. But when they revamped, what they did was they started focusing who buys a particular item. So they're trying to see like the females are buying a certain carpet, the males are buying a certain carpet, a certain size, they are buying what time, and what brings them back. How come in this restaurant, how can I make sure my customer comes back again? It's not a one passing by customer. Okay. And the CEO said all companies have this kind of information, but it's the lack of people, the lack of knowledge, lack of tools to deal with it is the problem. I remember IBM, let me continue this one and then I'll tell you the story. So the new look was they made more expensive wine. They got veggie menus and seafood menus that are higher in price. They were always afraid to do in the past. They had remodeled in a lighter atmosphere. They did a reward program for loyalty people. They offered free dinners on birthdays, a trip or a surprise trip to Italy, and so on. They did beautiful things. Now they made almost 18 million every year after losing 10% every year. So before I move on to the recycling at AC and reusing, which is a passion of mine, I wanted to say the story of the IBM people when they studied in Egypt, IBM Egypt. They went into one of the banks, as the bank was a customer, and the CEO told them, I want to know what people are saying about my bank on Facebook. So IBM said, mostly good things, some negative things. This is what they call text analytics. Certain words they put aside, they say this is positive, this is negative words. You know, Facebook, it's like a newspaper. You're just digging there. So anyway, they dug further, IBM people, and they found that only one branch of this bank had the negative comments, and all other branches had positive comments. See how valuable this was? Extremely valuable. All branches had very positive comments, and one branch had very negative comments through text analytics. There's a lot there to do. Okay, now back to reducing, recycling, and reusing. It all started not with recycling as recycling. It all started back in 2001, which was pronounced as the UN Year of Volunteerism, something on this wavelength. So I'm a faculty advisor of a club that deals with orphans in Egypt. So we decided, one girl there, one of the students back then in 2001, her name is Helani, she came and told me there are as many orphans in orphanages as there are outside. So let's try and do some service to those outside orphanages as well. Great idea. So what to do? She said, let's go to a place called a very poor area below poverty line called Mitaoba, and there we're gonna study the families. She studied all families, and in our culture, a single mom, I mean, a family with no dad is considered an orphan. So she got me the list, and we used to go there in the youth center, which is like a club, but it's not exactly a club, and teach the kids. Okay, this was the very first family planning project on campus. How did we do it? With those three pioneers that you see here. Those are alums of American University in Cairo back in the 40s. Aziza Hussein, Aida Gindi, Mary Asad. They taught us everything. Even after we launched that day, when they came to and the president of the university attended the launching, we had a big presentation on campus. And the UN representative came, and a very famous lady called Mona Zulfouar in Egypt was one of the audience, but of course took the podium and gave us a lovely speech. We learned a lot. Even after this day, we went to their homes with questions. Whenever we found a difficulty or an issue, how to do this, it's a very success. It's the first family planning project program on campus at the American University in Cairo. To cut a long story short, why am I saying this? Because when we used to go and teach the kids, whatever it is that we used to teach over the weekend, their mom came around. We agreed they are single moms and that's still an orphan. So what to do with those women? We want to take them aside and focus with the kids. We used to teach them, which is something I would love to advocate in the whole world, not just in Egypt. How this guy here is a professional to teach them how from the cooked oil they can make soap. So here is the first seed of recycling. It started through this small club, Volunteers in Action. I hope this, not just because you're throwing away something, you're throwing it in the sewage usually, it blocks the sewage, there's a lot of problems, and why throw anything if you can make use of it? This is what we're trying to do, have zero waste, okay, or promote zero waste. So this is one thing we taught them back in 2001 that had to do with reusing things. We also got the gardeners, a nice story, to teach them how to plant trees. The gardener of AUC volunteered his weekend, it was his holiday, and he volunteered his time, and he came and taught the kids how to plant the trees. After that, in 2004, Maria Assad, the third one lady, was on the right. I told her, I know she worked with the association or volunteered, there's no word there, Association of Protection of Environment, APE, in Egypt. So I told her I want to promote recycling. It's not about the oil. We're gonna just, I want to promote it on campus. This is a great idea. Let's go for paper. And she helped me a lot with this idea. This is on the left, this picture of the left was in 2004 when we were still in the old campus. We used to have an old campus in the middle of town in Cairo. And then we moved to a new campus. So this was in 2008 we moved. So this was in 2004, this picture on the first day ever we promoted recycling here. And on the right are the pictures when we promoted recycling in two different events in the new campus. This was very professionally done because not only did Maria Assad help me with this, she invited Yusreya Loza Sawiris, who is the owner of this APE, Association of Protection of Environment. So here is her picture. And she came. The person who strongly helped me in this was the provost back then, Provost Sullivan. Okay, and this is me. And Maria Assad introduced me. I told her the committee went on for a couple of years, and then I told her I need more help from inside, and I had a tape. I'm going to show you in a second that I used to go in class with, to promote recycling, and please students and please faculty and please staff, put the paper in this designated area, because it's all about recycling at the source, meaning it's not about how to just recycle from the oil. No, you put the oil aside and you make the soap. You put the paper aside and you make whatever you make with the paper. So she later on introduced me to Dr. Salah Hagar, and this is the campus in the old campus. Let me stop here and show you the video and then continue my presentation. Okay, it doesn't matter if the sound is not so clear. What matters is the talking, or I can be talking as well. This is the APA products, Association of Protection of Environment, everything, not just the paper we give them, they do other things.
The plastic is about 3%.
This is the percentage of garbage we have, and this is Dr. Salah Hagar narrating the video.
Around 1 to 2%.
This I did with when I was in charge of the lab as I was first introduced. So the lab did this video again as volunteers.
Around 50, 60%.
This is how they do the paper recycling. They shred it first. We gave them back all the paper for free. And they took the paper and they made beautiful items with it, as you see, beautiful cards, volunteer cards, Christmas cards, you name it. This is how they do this is how they recycle the paper in Association of Protection of Environment. Those are the cards. This is from different recycled cloth. We didn't give them that, but it's in the tape to promote the whole idea of recycling. This is what I showed every professor in class. I took appointments with the professors I know. I go in and I explain as I'm talking with you, and I show them these things. And in the end, I say, please recycle. There's a bin for paper, put it there. APA comes and picks it up free of charge, and then they do whatever they want to do with it. Students love the idea. At the end of the semester, they came with a big luggage of all the paper that they didn't need anymore, scrap paper, and they throw it. I saw it with my own eyes, big luggage, and they throw the paper where the designated areas. This is just a kindergarten for the people working in APE because they're all poor people. And those are the machines done by Egyptian engineers that for recycling. And they used to export them in Africa. This is the one for plastic. See, this is how they do the plastic bags.
First can be cleaned and then can be shredded if it's hardy plastic, or agglomerated if it is plastic bags. Now, the agglomerated machine is a very sensitive machine which makes the plastic bags or anything with the plastics compared to powder or agglomerate. Now, the shredded plastic or the agglomerated plastic can go into the pelleting machine to be melted, filtered, and then produce the pellets out of it. The pellets can go into the plastic bags machines, which can be melted and blown to air and produce plastic bags with different which is called air blowing machine, where we can produce different types of plastics. We can also change.
So this is how we do the plastic bag, the garbage bags, plastic garbage bags. Okay, by reusing plastic.
Another machine which converts the pellets into another product like plastic balls, which can be used for electricity inside the walls. This is a very simple machine where we can just inject plastic after melting into separate diameters and then cool it, and after that we can just roll it and plastic balls. There's another machine which is called the plastic injection molding machine, where the plastic injection molding machine can take the shape of the mold and produce different types like this kind of cones or any other plastic caps or at the end of this kind of process or after recycling, we produce about 20 to 25%, which is called waste of waste, which is the contaminated plastic bags with some glasses, some small plastics, and some organic materials. Now, this all was produced after the composting process. And this kind of waste of waste we also call it rejects. With the molding technology, we can just produce different products, such as bricks, which can be used for walls, interlocks, which can be used for pavings, weeds, which can be used for cars used in farms or streets for garbage collection. Also, we can use the technical topics. As you can see, it's very simple and can be coated with different materials, change the color. And also here.
This is the manhole. Those are the APE coming to collect the paper from us for free. By the way, AUC now sells the garbage, but still gives the paper to APE for free. That's one of my students. I told him to draw something for me in this wavelength of, in the end, there will be thieves stealing the garbage. Here it is. It was prepared by the lab and Volunteers in Action and the SU. This nice thing. Maybe the waste of the waste was not very clear, but let me go back to sharing the PowerPoint to continue. Okay. The waste of the waste, basically, when you have a machine like the one that did the garbage plastic bags for garbage collection, at the other end comes waste that they used to throw away. It used to pile up and used to throw away or have to bury to avoid interacting with the environment. A certain number of meters, it's a hassle. So they took this waste of waste and they made from it the interlocks, which is a great idea. They made the bricks, they made toppings for tables and so on. So this is, in other words, don't throw anything away, anything. You can recycle 100% of everything. Okay, so after that, I came up with this informal committee. I was strongly backed up by the provost back then, Dr. Sullivan, and he helped me a lot. It was informal back then. Now it's not. It's if you Google it, you'll find it. A formal committee now. And now there is, after we went to 2008, after we went to the new campus, the president back then, President Arnold, he attended one of the meetings, encouraged us after the provost encouragement, and he called us Clean and Green. I love the name, and ever since that committee has been called Clean and Green. We had a mission to make sure it's compatible with AEC mission and advocate solid waste management practices through training, education, and so on, and recycled products development, while serving the outside community as well. We have a vision, but we're still working on it. We still didn't get there. Is to be leading educational recycling center offering high quality facilities, services, as well as product comparable to the best organizations worldwide. Historically, as I said, we started 2004. Back then we had the student union with us in the committee, and they said, don't confuse us. We still don't understand the culture of recycling very well. So let's just stick to paper, which we did. We just did paper recycling, and we had a bin, just one big place for the paper. And as we said, the APE used to come and pick it up. Because I started this with the oil, cooking oil and soap with the Volunteers in Action. So I linked the two committees together, or the club and the committee. So I asked the APE if we give them some card designs, can they give it back to us as at cost price, which they did. We designed some cards, Valentine cards, and they took our paper for free, and they gave us back cards at cost price, and we sold at a profit, and the profit went to the office. And we had top management support, and we stuck for a long time with just paper. And then we decided, then the AC made a sustainable office formally. Now there's a formally sustainable office, and we meet with them, Clean and Green, the committee and the office, and we're doing jointly some work together, as you will see in a second. And we came up with some design of garbage bins, one for plastic, one for paper, and so on. And those are the bins. We used to have small bins and big bins, and then we had standard bins because students started understanding. And we used to walk around as a committee to try and see everybody, to check that the bins are full with the right thing, and students did put them. The garbage collectors wouldn't read, but they would know. The AC garbage collectors that if it's black, for example, it's the one for plastic, the standard colors for the plastic bag itself, not just the writing. Okay, so here are examples, and this is the AUC map of the new campus, and the red spots is where we as a committee decided to put everything there. It's endless people who are in the committee, the sustainable office, professors, more than one professor, and not just Dr. Salah, Dr. Richard Hoth also, because he's an environmentalist, and he tries to make the campus brown. He says we're not yet green, but we are a brown campus, and so on. So we have a lot of people there, and of course the bosses of the garbage people, the cleaning people on campus. So this is where we decided to put the bins, and every year we did statistics. This is the statistics that I did, and we tried to see correlation. I don't want to go into a lot of details in statistics because that's a little bit confidential, but the reason, for example, the paper went up here because we had more paper bins in the right places in offices. We used to have them only outside offices, but we started having them in offices. We had more paper, despite the fact that we hardly use paper on campus. Even exams and everything is now online, but the small majority of paper used is collected at the source more than before. And we are major users of the regular garbage and plastic. Now we are selling the plastic, we're selling the cans, and we make money and spend on a machine. For example, you got a compressor, a machine to compress the plastic. So when we sell it, it's compressed. So the truck that comes and picks them up can pick up much 10 times more than what they used to pick up. They don't have to come back again for the picking up. And here is the garbage fee thing. And thank you for your participation in making everything green. I think I have something in the chat. PDF.
Since you're done, we can take Q&As from the participants in the call.
Okay.
All right. Right. So I think Amar, you can write your question in the chat.
Yeah, or somebody wants a copy of this, I'll try and make you a copy, but I have to remove a few things that are confidential and then send you a copy. Somebody wants a PDF of this.
Yes.
Anybody else has questions? Thank you. Question and answers. Okay, that's the PDF.
Okay. So there's a question. It says plastic is harmful to the environment. Will it not be more harmful when it's recycled?
Again, I'm not the scientist behind this, but no, as long as you're using it in useful things. So they use it for making the garbage plastic bags, for example. So they're using it for the carpet moquette. So you need it to be reused. It doesn't affect it rather than throw it. Now you end up throwing it away. What will you do? Now they don't use regular plastic, they use recyclable plastic. So I'm not the expert in this. It's just the passion that started all this, and I'm more an expert in the statistics or analytics part of what we have been doing across the years and the trends we found and that made us make changes. To convert used oil into soap, is it an easy home task? No, it's not easy. I need to look for the video even Dr. Salah said it's not easy, and I was very lucky to bump into this guy. I used to have two videos. One we did in the meet by itself, and one we did in the old campus. It's not easy, but it's very useful. Maybe I can YouTube it and see if it's there. If not, if I find the video, I can put it on YouTube. That would be a great idea. It's not easy at all. It's not easy in the sense that few people know the formula, but it's easy. Yes, you keep stirring something and then you put it in blocks and then wait for it for a while, but you have to put whatever it is that you're stirring over and above the oil that is reused, and that's as far as I remember, and then cut the blocks and then it comes the soap. So all the typical kitchen Egyptian soap was made of oil, still made of oil, but sometimes one oil is better than other oils, so the soap is better than other soap. Which platform are best for data analytics? I am a passion for something called Excel Miner. I learned the IBM ones, but if you're not into coding, the Excel Miner is the most beautiful one because it's simple, and which are the two I showed you. Or if you want to make it simple because it's an inexpensive software, make sure you have SQL on your machine, and then you have some add-ons on your Excel. The SQL in the background with the add-ons will help you do data analytics. Simple, easy, couldn't be easier. You just press on this, comes the influencer. Influencer for what? Season, as we did in the carpet. But you have to have some brains to change things around. Say, if I don't have many transactions, no influencers will show, it will show no significance. So I say, okay, instead of just having dates, let's turn it into seasons. Okay, instead of having names of customers, let's turn them into gender, male and female, and so on. And then comes beautiful analytics. So that's the easiest that I advise you to use. Have SQL on your machine, but it makes it heavy. So, yeah. And have those add-ons on Excel, and that's it. About recycled cum waste to make food. That's great, but we didn't do much about it. Let me continue. I notice it is very expensive compared to plastic one. What do you think the reason? I have no clue. I'm not the scientist behind this, but the waste of the food is very good composite for the plants. We didn't go into this at AUC. Some things hinder this because we have a very big campus now with a lot of trees, a lot of dates, a lot of palm trees, and so on. And this is a phase we want to go into. Once I know more, I can tell you more, but I'm not sure it's that expensive, no. We need some kind. I used to have a presentation. If it's ready, I'll show you. Certain greenhouses, but it wasn't a big deal, no. What else? Let me see. This is the question, and that's it. Okay, those are the questions. How to convert used oil? Okay, thank you for your effort. If you have any questions, chat. About recycle can waste to make food box. I noticed it's ready. Oh, it's done. Sadly, I'm using my Mac. I do have my Windows. I would have showed you how easy analytics is with SQL. My window one has the SQL. It's just a hassle to convert the presentation now. But with the SQL at the back, Excel does wonderful things. I can show you the Excel itself. Okay, let me show you the Excel itself. But I will not show you how easy it is to run, but I'll show you. Okay. For example, this is the sheet with the data. Here I told her I want you to add the season. So she added the season. And here I told her to add the gender. She put the prices to know what's expensive and what's not. Automatically, the add-ons would categorize the expenses, would say this is expensive, this is not. And here is the category, the one in yellow. Okay. And all you do is it should, if you have the, sorry, forgive me, just a second. If you have the SQL, which I don't have here because that's Mac, you will have here something called data analytics. You click on it and then it gives you, this screen goes away and then it gives you options here. The options that I like to use is the influencer and the shopping basket. But if you don't have a lot of data like this one here, because she had, because she doesn't sell a lot of carpets, the shopping basket didn't work. It worked, but it said nothing significant. Whereas the one with the appliances got me shopping basket results. Influencers, we did a lot of things. We did the gender, we did this, the season, and so on. So we just click on this, and then things like category report comes out. This is simple but easy, not easy to understand, but those are her categories. Like how would I categorize her customers or categorize? So it was clear cut, all nationwide one category. Naim is one category, the top one, then Chinois, and so on. Sometimes two drugs would go together as one category, but here it was clear cut. Naim is the biggest, and then Chinois, and so on. It's as if you say in England, how would you categorize the British? You can say, well, they're either crazy about Liverpool or Manchester City, for example. And so on. Or in Egypt, if you are more in about our culture, they're either into Ahli or Zamalek team, because those people are crazy about football. Okay, so you need to categorize because then you need to understand your customers. So this is very important. For example, we had a very, very big student strike in 2011, I think 2012 at AC. And the students, very intelligent, closed the doors and said, no one is going in. The fees are too high, do something about it. To cut a long story short, had we thought about the students in terms of categories, we would have known how to communicate with them. It took us some time. It took us a while. Okay. Most of them were young, not the ones graduating. Most of them were freshmen still. And the leader of the gang was, anyway, not to go into details. We understood this, but it took us a while, not through analytics, through human analytics. Okay. And then we started talking to them, and then it worked very well. Okay. Influencer for gender, this is the gender. It gives me the same result as the influencer for season. Okay, here I showed you the season. The gender male, what are they doing? Significantly comes the male with the fall season, and significantly comes the female with the spring season. It's significant. Why? Because the arrow is either yellow or green. We ignore the red arrows. It means it's not significant. And did I put a hypothesis? No, I did nothing. I just ran the data, but when nothing came out, let's segment it into seasons, let's segment it into genders, let's see this, let's see that. This is the only human intervention. You have to do it intelligently. Okay. So this is the one for the carpets. The other one I also have ready in case you want to look at it. This is the one for just to show you as an example how simple it is. Okay, so this is all the data I got from this lady here. Okay, she gave me all this data. See? Because of course she has a lot of records. It's not like the carpet. Okay, so we influencer by branch. Which branch sells what? Influencer by brand. What brand is sold where? Influencer for the product. Which product goes with what? Influencer for the payment, because some install and some pay cash. Influencer for customers. We had big clients. And then influencer, and then finally, most interesting was the shopping basket. What goes with what? What is sold with what? Okay. So this is as simple as it goes. This is my favorite because it's the easiest. and it's really good. I mean, NASA people use it, but somebody like Amazon cannot use it because they have endless records. It becomes really heavy. As you saw, it takes thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. NASA use it, but it can't take the many records of the Amazon.
Last round for questions. If anyone has, they can just write in the chat.
Although I rehearsed 50 minutes, it seems I took shorter than that.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Dina, for your time and for letting us know about the analytics and stuff. If there are any questions that come after it, we will communicate them with you and we will get the answers for our participants. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely meeting you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.